Alright, apologies about that. No, no, there's a Mustang that was appearing in the top left-hand corner. I think I forgot to hide something in when I was editing this to get it set up for tonight. Well, no music over the background of my voice, but nonetheless, we're here at Talladega, one of the biggest tracks, actually the biggest track on the NASCAR circuit here for our super speedway race. And David, you're in the booth with me tonight. I think we're in for a pretty good race.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting. It's going to be Talladega, so it's a 50-50 shot.
It really is for a lot of these guys, and we're talking about for a lot of drivers, I think this is going to be, for lack of a better word, it's going to be a crapshoot out there tonight because a lot of these guys are going to be going for these top positions, and we always talk about super speedways. It's always considered the grand equalizer, where a lot of guys that typically wouldn't get wins on normal speedway tracks have a chance at getting a win at here or Daytona. So I think a lot of the guys in the back, they're going to be eyeing up this opportunity to get themselves a win, get themselves some solid points. And I think that's where a lot of the guys that typically run in the front are a little bit worried.
Yeah, and with super speedway and plate racing, everything happens fast and quick, and the smallest mistake can cause the biggest carnage.
It really can. So looking at Liam Machine, he's always one to watch on these super speedway tracks as a few drivers are coming across the line to start their times. Is currently Travis McQuistion up in the top spot in that 93 Craftsman Toyota Supra. Waiting for a few more drivers to come across the grid. Some guys out there qualifying. Notably, Filip Radojcic in the 19. Nice to see him back on the track. Feel like we haven't seen him in a little while in that beautiful Best Buy paint scheme. But also trying to take a look here at some other drivers that are currently making their way around the track. Chad Simpson, the 46 Toyota Supra, doing pretty well. Currently 7th on the board. And also Evan Adams with a solid qualifying time, up in 4th in the 59. Any drivers, David, that you're pretty intrigued by? I know you usually always talk about Liam Sheen. He's showing his prowess on these tracks. But anyone in particular that you've seen that catches your eye?
I don't know if it really catches my eye, but maybe a sleeper that may be overlooked or not looked at as often, and that'd be somebody named Casey Lakatos.
And Casey Lakatos is, you're talking pretty much exactly. He is a sleeper. Unfortunately, I don't think he's written for tonight. But one driver who is on the grid is the 28 of Nick Johnson, and this man has been dominating this series. I believe 4 wins to his name this season alone. So he's definitely going to be the man to watch. Typically on the other tracks I'll keep an eye on him, but also here as well, I think he knows what he's doing. Actually, I like Casey Lakatos is here. Find him in the 50. There he is in the Sim TV paint scheme.
Yeah, and you brought up Liam Sheen, but Travis McQuistion, he's another one I think you'll have to watch out for tonight. He's been really strong the last couple of weeks, and watching him in practice, he seemed like he had pretty good stable control of his car and looked like he was pretty quick.
Casey Lakatos in 9th, while Nick Johnson, he completes his time. He jumps all the way up into 6th. Matt Hollabaugh currently in the 0-2 putting out a time. He's down below the apron trying to make up as much time as possible across the line for his machine. It's going to be a 53.6, going to put him up in 7th. So for the most part, I think that's going to wrap up qualifying here. Drivers have put their times down. Gonna be Hayden Pistorius up in the top in that 9 car. He'll be starting on pole. There we go. Qualifying finally complete. We're gonna get ready to line these guys up. It's gonna be a 94 lap race around Talladega. And get ready to see what these guys got around here. I feel like we're going to be in for a pretty green race. These guys, time and time again, have shown they can do pretty well at these tracks. So I got my hopes up for this crowd, drivers. But
yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Fanny.
No, you finish what you're saying.
I was gonna say there's a surprise there. It was Brian Chambliss. He kind of surprised me with qualifying second.
Yeah, a really solid qualifying effort for him, and in fact, Try to find the camera. There we go. That was what I was looking for. Take a look at your starting lineup. So, starting in row number 1 is going to be Hayden Pistorius in the 9. Starting on the inside next to him, Brian Chambliss in 2nd. Moving on back, Lee in 3rd. Silver Deutschich in 4th. Back in 5th, you got Travis McQuistion, 93. Nick Johnson in 6th. Colin Farrell is going to be lining up in 7th. Matt Hollabaugh in 8th. Back in 9th, Chad Simpson in the 46. Jeremy Miller in 10th. And I'm going to let the rest of that scroll across the bottom of your screen here. For the most part, I would say more than anything at these tracks, qualifying probably matters the least out of any other place. So I think for these guys, if you qualify maybe really far back, I would be a little bit concerned. But for the guys midfield, if anything, I would be concerned about getting to the front, more so just being involved in an incident. Where would you say is your favorite place to be, David, at this point, at the start of a race? Where's the best place to be in the field?
My preference at Talladega, Daytona, I like to start in the back and ride around the back and let some of the carnage take place, and then maybe with about 40 or so laps to go, try to make my way towards the front.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's going to be a lot of patience required for these drivers. It's very easy to just try to move up as fast as possible to the front of the grid, and just get yourself in position. But you have a lot of time to work with. Again, 94 laps. That's not necessarily short, but that's not necessarily long either. So you gotta have a lot of patience making some moves and navigating as the field is rolling off. And also, too, David, you're rolling off on the field, doing a little bit of start and park here before you join me up in the booth. Play back in your tent car in your Tabasco machine.
Yeah, I run here, so I wanted to make at least a start. So yeah, I'm taking a start, and then I'll be joining you in the booth after a lap or two.
Yeah, and again, thanks to David. Really, I just want to say this on air too for races in this series. Graciously came into the booth as a replacement that we had for the few races that Kyle's off doing grid life. Supposed to take part. He unfortunately had something come up, so David happily took on board this call. So again, I want to thank you again, David, for joining me up in the booth. Good luck on your 2 laps. Hopefully, nothing happens to you back there.
Oh, well, if it does, it'll be a short-lived race. It's going to be a short one anyway, so it just make it a little quicker for me. But no, I was trying to help you with the grid there, and I was hitting the wrong button. I had to map something to my steering wheel so I could talk to you while I'm driving.
It's good. Trust me, Kyle still has it a little fast, so that's why I gave up after the first 5 rows, because going through really quickly. But as you're saying, qualifying not a true indicator of what gone. I think it's really going to come down to, how, what was I going to say? I forgot my words. I think it's going to come down to how these guys manage themselves in traffic. I think it's going to be the true indicator of who's race.
Yeah, I was actually, naming off some of the grid there, and I'm sitting there going, I'm hitting the wrong button. So yeah, I feel like a noob.
And don't worry about it. I felt a lot worse before, so more so than that. I've definitely done a lot worse, but the base truck gonna make the turn off to pit road. It's gonna be a little while though before you guys can get started. They gotta wait quite a ways till they can finally get on the gas and they can start this race. Field though bunching up in behind. And 94 laps on tap for you guys tonight at Talladega. Patiently rolling through the tri-oval. And green flag at Talladega.
It's pretty interesting so far looking up here in front of the cars and everybody in front of me. You got some people pulling up to the inside of the track, letting everybody go. They want to ride around the back, and then you got guys trying to move up as fast as they can in case this thing goes green.
Yeah, indeed. And we saw Liam Sheen. He pulled off to the inside and he dropped back through the yard, which is quite surprising. Would have thought Liam would have liked to remain up at the top, but he's join you in the back. Meanwhile, up in the front, these guys have gone back double file pretty solidly. It's a 25 of Brian Chambliss on the outside lane that's actually going to lead lap number 1. And 9 Pistorius trying to take the lead back.
I got stuck on the outside, so I couldn't get pulled into my pits, so I'm letting everybody by so I can pull off it.
And they definitely are managing, and also a lot of the guys, and this was talking about guys being patient so far. A lot of guys spread out just trying to run single file. The guys up front here, I think they're trying to just test out how this car is working around here just to get a feel for it, because you definitely don't want to wait too long. You want to try to figure out how the car is going to draft around here. But that inside lane still double file pretty strong. It looks like Pistorius now going to be winning on that inside lane for now. Trying to take a look back here at some of the other guys through the grid. A lot of guys single file here, and behind Kyle Westwood currently in the 7 car. Then it's Riley Thompson, William Schmidt, Tyler Hensley in behind. Kind of the group of guys that are being a little bit patient, 18th on back.
Yeah, the car actually felt really good for the, I was only out there for 2 laps, but it felt real good. It was like it's a real drivable setup, so I have a feeling that as long as, nobody makes a real careless mistake or anything like that, it should be a pretty good race, maybe even caution-free.
As you say that, going 3 wide, Philip Deutschitz on the outside is the 23 of Jeremy Miller that's trying to give him a bit of a shove. I guess these guys, again, testing the water, just seeing how this car is handling out, especially 3 wide. But I really think to get a lane going, you're going to need 3 to 4 guys to work with you. But it looks like, actually, I think they might have just been trying to drop to the back. I think they've had their fun for now.
Yeah, but the good thing about Talladega is it is wider than Daytona, so 3 wide isn't as difficult to do as it is at Daytona.
It looks like we're seeing some 3-wide action. It looked like the 0-2 was trying to make a move to the outside of Matt Hollaba. Actually, it looks like Evan Adams is going to jump up high, but I think he's just dropping on back into his inside as Will Robertson, the 39. He's trying to snake his way up here a few more positions, but it's been Brian Chambliss up in the front. He's been taking a fairly commanding lead. Hasn't been a whole lot of drivers that have been able to taste that lead other than really the 9 of Hayden Pistorius, and this is a great time to really talk about, if you notice, a few drivers with some orange numbers. Forgot to mention this pre-race, but I'll mention it now. So that's the Fuel 5 drivers. So there's only 4 of them in the grid tonight, but these drivers, if they win the race, they have a chance of winning $25. So a lot at stake for those drivers. So Hayden Pistorius is currently the highest of them by a long shot. There's no one else inside the top 15 with that is a Fuel 5 driver. The next one is Riley Thompson in the 58. So Pistorius trying to get some money, some extra money here, and work around that outside. He's got the 2 of Hollaba behind.
Yeah, it looks like the top line here has kind of fizzled out. There's only a few handful of cars up high, and the bottom line is where it's at right now.
And looking on board with Matt Hollaba in the 0-2, and yeah, I think with a lot of the drivers that have fizzled on, you can just look in behind. Actually, there's a car. Calvin Filarski and Will Roberts have jumped up to his 8. It was a little bit vacant for a moment, but now he's got some allies kind of joining him in behind to give that lane a little bit of a shove.
Yeah, I love that. I was mentioning that the top line fills out and everybody goes up high. So now we got a top lane.
I got the top lane building up, but it's still Chambliss on the bottom. That's still keeping his lead ahead of a lot of these other drivers. Noticed a lot of movement around, though, for some of these guys. I know you're saying the car here was pretty stable in behind, but do you think these guys are struggling with the lack of air going to their car from the cars up ahead?
I'm not real sure. I know that in the Cup car, they made some adjustments to the draft, and it doesn't. To a lot of people and myself, the car doesn't suck up as quite as well as it did, and if you ride too close, it overheats really, really fast now. So I don't know if maybe that's something they're experiencing with these cars as well. I didn't do a lot of drafting in the practice that we ran, so I don't really have much idea on that.
And riding on board there with Will Roberts for a second here as these guys are working past the lap car. And I believe that's the 71 of Dakota Mata. I believe that's how you say that name. In the 71, he's going to go a lap down early on, but he'll be able to join the pack and hopefully not lose more laps.
Yeah, I think he started from pits. 'Cause he was gridded behind me, and he didn't grid behind me. He wasn't on the grid when we took the.
Yeah, you're right about that. So yeah, he started from the pit, so at least he'll be one lap down. But fortunately for him, he's the first car lap down. So there is a wreck. We could see him get that lap back, but currently these guys keep me pretty clean. A fairly small pack up in the front leading this race, and we'll take this chance to just kind of look on through who else we got. Is Thomas Bressing in the 24 midfield, that beautiful 24 Exalta machine. Got a new paint scheme on here. He's trying to check to make sure that scheme was working out fine, and looking beautiful, Thomas. Great paint scheme. He's also got his teammate 44 Tyler Hensley riding behind, so those guys working together trying to make their way up to the front. Really, from the looks of it, we've only lost two drivers to the draft. That's Derek Castor and John Wilco, 40 and the 62 respectively, 29th and 30th. So they've got their ways to move up to the front. Still got this leading pack and not a whole lot of movement. And we were talking actually, how about Casey Lakatos in that 50 car? We were talking about him remaining fairly low-key, very patient driver, but here he is up in the front. I'm actually surprised by this.
Yeah, with Brian Chambliss and Casey Lakatos being members of the ORL, before practice and everything, I was joking around with them. I said, I'm helping broadcast tonight, so I want you guys to go out there and win the race. And well, they're both sitting here fighting for the lead. It's kind of like they took it for serious, and I was just joking around.
Yeah, well, at least they're doing you well so far at the moment. Again, this is going to be the hard part, though, is keeping that lead. A lot of aggressive drivers in behind, willing to do whatever it takes to take that lead away. But I imagine Lakatos, he's been on a string of fairly good finishes, both in fuel and even in ORL. And I think ORL specifically, he's been doing pretty well. So I think he's been hungry for a win and looking like this is probably his best shot in quite a while to get that win.
Yeah, Casey's always been a real patient driver. Sometimes the patience is his downfall, but then again, in other cases, like here lately, it's really benefited him. And something that I don't think we brought up was, if this race goes green, this race could be won and lost on pit road. Getting on and off pit road at this track can make or break the whole race for you.
Yeah, Dulger was he's a little bit out of line quite a bit. I've been seeing a lot of movement out of his car specifically, but it looks like he got it under control. It looked like there might have been a wreck in the middle of the back straightaway. He's got that car under wraps. Notably, I've noticed Liam Sheeney's kind of snuck back into the picture in that 96 Mustang. And I have a feeling he's working with the 99 of William Schmidt, because those guys have identical paint scheme. Or identical paint. Slight alterations.
Me and Liam, we ran together in the practice, and he was a good pusher. He pushed me around a couple of times when I was practicing. So he could be a dark horse in this if he doesn't get caught up in something and he has good pit stops. He could definitely be somebody to keep an eye out late in the race.
Looking up to the front of the field, the outside lane starting to die quite a bit, and it was Lakatos that came down in front of the 25 of Chambliss. Now it's McQuistion working there his way on by as well. So that outside lane really starting to lose some ground. Even Pistorius, I'm curious if we'll see maybe someone make a move on him. Got to do something, because they're losing ground quite a bit. We might see this outside lane actually die here.
And that's the...
Okay. Well, I wasn't sure which one of you, which one was wanted to speak. I was going to say, David, if you had a choice of lane at the moment, if you're one of these leaders, which lane would you pick? Would you run the outside lane, or would you run the bottom?
Being this early in the race, I'd probably stick to the bottom for safety reasons. That way, if somebody gets loose, they're going to go up. That way, I'd have a better chance of missing anything like that. But the lane dying out, that's part of the nature of the beast of plate racing. Guys try to run up air, and if they don't feel like it's going anywhere, they'll dive back down, and then the top line just dies out, and then it reforms, and you get what you got right now is another high line going, and they're trying to push forward, and it looks like we got some people trying to go even 3 wide right now.
Yeah, I saw Matt Hull make an aggressive move to the outside lane, maybe to get something going there, but unfortunately it looks like he's going to drop back. I'm not sure that was the plan, but I did see Brian Chambliss also. He made a move to the outside to join in front of Hayden Pistorius. They're actually starting to gain back some ground now. Pistorius doing well in behind the 25, so Chambliss trying to retake the lead back here.
Yeah, it's going to be a seesaw battle back and forth like that almost probably, I'd say, all night. You're going to have times where the top line is going to prevail, and then, cars are going to drop back down to the low line, and it's going to drop back, and then, it'll be seesaw right back and forth like that all night. That's where you get a lot of your trouble at, too, is people making moves like that, not being clear or misjudging or anything of that nature.
Riding aboard with the 23 of Jeremy Miller. He started in 10th, currently riding in 13th, so not a whole lot of movement for the 23 car. He's been pretty patient back here. He's working around the one of David Blackwood. That red and black car, too, is inside. So he's been kind of stuck in line. And how would you reckon our Jeremy Miller's chances of getting a win here?
If he drives smart and makes good choices, he has a pretty good chance. He's really good at plate tracks. In fact, over at ORL, we call him Mr. Plate or something in that nature. I can't remember exactly, but he knows how to get around easy. He knows how to. If he does everything right, he could be a contender.
So a bit of a checkup there from some guys in the bottom lane, and that's allowed Brian Chambliss to retake the lead as he slides in front of the 50 of Casey Lakatos. So for the most part, the lead pack's starting to stretch out more and more. I think that a lot of these guys are just going on back. I think they're kind of satisfied for now and just trying to run this race out. We're looking like we might go green for quite a while, and that's going to mean green flag pit stops. And again, we say time and time again, we hope that these guys practice getting onto pit road, because there's always one guy that gets caught out. They either miss their box or they miss pit road entirely getting on down. So you definitely need to practice that before coming out here, otherwise you could find yourself, caught up in a mistake and potentially bring out a caution.
Hey, something else to factor in too is if you're running a paint scheme that you're not familiar with, your pit sign may be different. Like for me last night when I was running my A race, I wasn't used to my new pit board, and I drove right by my pit stop.
That's something I've been noticing a lot of guys have been doing recently in a bunch of our different leagues. Is a lot of guys just missing their box more so than usual. So again, you're getting for a lot of these guys, because we haven't had a caution, they gotta kind of guess where the pit stall is. If they weren't paying attention to where they started, they can easily overshoot.
That's another reason that I like starting the back myself. That way I know where my pit stall is at the back. So it's normally one of the first couple pit stalls, and I get in and don't have to worry about it.
Ooh, a little bit of movement out of the 13 and Nate Stewart on that outside lane, currently in 4th, and he started back in 23rd, so a great climb up forward for the 13. He's now trying to potentially have a look at leading a lap here if he can get on past Hayden Pistorius and lead that outside lane, but really solid climb up forward. And this is where we're talking about, really qualifying. Doesn't matter a whole lot. It really matters on your, pack management. And speaking of which, this pack's starting to form back up. A lot of guys coming in the back on that outside lane. Notice Evan Adams up there, also the 58 of Riley Thompson. He was sitting back single file for quite a while, so he's trying to make a charge up front. Same thing with Will Roberts. So starting to see him get a little bit more aggressive here. I think we have a shot, potentially seeing a caution if something goes wrong, considering how close everyone is.
Yeah, that's the big problem with these packs like this. You know, if it happens up in the top 5, you've got 30 other guys behind you. They're going to pile in and, you know, ruin a lot of people's nights. But that top line it's strong. It's moving up there. I think if it had a couple more cars up there, man, they could probably a couple of those guys could get to the front.
What do you think about, you know, potentially seeing, you know, these guys make a third lane? Do you think it's a little bit too early for that, or do you think now is a good time?
I'd say it's too early for a third line. I mean, it's 94 laps, and we're just now hitting lap 20. I'd say I'd give it at least, you know, another 20 laps before I'd even consider, you know, trying to make the third line.
Yeah, as these guys come across start-finish line, we're going to complete lap 20. Not a single caution coming out so far. Will Roberts make a little bit of a move to the outside lane, but also the track's starting cast in shadow here, and that reminds me, we haven't really taken a look at our weather. Not that it really matters a whole lot, in my opinion, unless it's blazingly hot. It's only 91 degrees on the track, 77 ambient. So, you know, nothing too crazy. Pretty bog standard weather-wise.
Yeah, I don't think weather at tracks like this matter, in my opinion. Kind of like you. I mean, it could be cloudy, it could be sunny. The car's pretty much going to drive the same, in my opinion.
Oh, someone's spinning down a pit road. I think that's Derek Castor in the 48 indeed. Not sure how he ended up down there, but let's try to take a look at it. I haven't really had to use the replay function at all so far, so he was kind of slow by himself.
Got a car in the apron, too.
Yeah. He just got in here, oh, he just turned it into the wall. Okay, that was interesting. Not sure what's going on with the 48, but he's actually stuck down there on pit road. Just sitting at the exit of it. So if we do... Oh, no, he's finally gotten back rolling. So, okay, I was going to say, hopefully he can get back out of the way, because if he sits there for quite a while, when these guys start to make some green-flag pit stops, that would get a little bit hairy, to say the least.
I don't know if he was trying to pit to get out of, you know, to get out of the way of the leaders and just lost it, or
no, he didn't lose it. He just turned it straight into the wall. So, not sure entirely what happened. It was a hardware malfunction. But looking back up front, Casey Licata's trying to ike his way up ahead. He's got the 13 of Nate Stewart pushing him pretty hard. So Stewart in a hurry. I'm not sure he's trying to force the 50 to get out of the lane or just trying to get the 50 up there. But really am impressed by Licata. This is probably the best run I've seen him have in a very long time, up at the front constantly. Now there you see Licata's going to pull on down low. That's going to open up the door for that 13 on the outside lane, and I think definitely if you're going to want to make a pass, it's going to be that outside lane. Speaking of which, Evan Adams in that Castrol machine way up out of line.
Yeah, while the 48 was having his issues on pit road, the 97, I don't know what happened to him, but he pulled down on the apron, and now he's lost the draft. And he did it in the middle of the turn, so I don't know if he got bumped and thrown down there, or he went down there because it was too hairy for him. I don't.
So the 97 of Richard Nash. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, it started in 14th, back in 28th. So yeah, you're talking about he lost the draft. Well, take a look on board of him. You can see it's a really helpless feeling to see the pack drive away from you and you have no way of catching back up. So he's going to just have to hope for a caution to come out so that he can get back up in the order. But again, these guys have been doing a really solid job tonight. Whoa, Matt Hollabaugh in the wall on the outside. Looks like he's going to keep that car going straight forward and clear. And also to the outside, they're putting a lap car, or putting a car a lap down. That's John Wilco in the 62. We talked about him. He's one of those guys that lost the draft along with Derek Castor. So it's not been a good race for the 62. He's going to now fight with the 71 of Dakota Mata, who also lost the draft again. So a lot of guys in the back struggling.
And that's another factor that you have to worry about is lap cars. If you're running 3 wide and you got lap cars coming,
Ooh.
It's definitely a tricky thing to try to go forward and get cars on the apron again.
Yeah, Brian Chambliss, I think he got squeezed out of lane there. It actually looks like he's gonna get back sorted out. Take a chance to look at what happened with him. Gonna move a little bit further back. Here he is. Oh, he got hit a little bit by the 93. That shoved him out of lane. And he just kind of rode the apron. Did a very good job of keeping out of it. And he was able to rejoin the pack. So, didn't lose a whole lot other than track position, but more importantly, he's still in the draft. And I think that's really the biggest thing.
Yeah, he did a great job keeping control of his car because, you know, getting down on that apron like that is not easy to keep from coming back up into traffic.
Ooh, Belger in the 80 made him how to look up the inside. He's been pretty aggressive, that Jack Daniels machine. Take a look at where he started. Started back in 15th, is up into 7th. Evan Adams up on the high side yet again. Who looks like for the Radojcic in the 19. He's gone up there to join him. Eventually they can make a move to the front.
If I'm not mistaken, I think pit stop should be coming up here within the next 10 laps or so.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, so really to science this race out, I mean, to make it on one stop, which I really doubt you do unless you're driving around here in a Prius, to cut it in half would be to go 47 laps, and no stalker that I know of can do that. Oh, we see the 23. Jeremy Miller spinning to the inside, and caution going to come out for the first time. And a few others involved as well. Matt Hollaba and Colin Fambro involved in that 5. Wasn't sure it was the second car that got spun. I think it was Randy Beater Jr. in the 64, and that's going to bring out our first caution of the evening. Try to take a look at what happened there. The 64 might have drifted up into the 23, and that turned him around. Oh. Oh, man. Wow. Okay, that was probably the worst wreck I've seen in these cars. Randy Beater Jr. just flipping down the front stretch. You got to take a look at that.
Yeah, the good thing for Jeremy Miller is Jeremy didn't hit anything other than the contact that he had with the 64.
So Randy Beater Jr. Take a few angles, a few chances to look at this. Man, what a wreck. Here they come onto the front straightaway into the tri-oval now. It's going to drift up just a little bit, clip to 23. These cars unstable once they get sideways. And also the 28, and you see the 5 there as well of Colin Fairbairn. He got involved, and even who our points leader, the 28, Nick Johnson, got a few pieces of that. We'll take a ride on board to the 28 car. See how he got through here.
And like I said, there's nowhere to go when all this carnage takes place.
There we go. That's the 28 car. Nick Johnson riding on board with him. Oh, he's got hit in the back. Actually helped him out quite a bit. I think he had a little bit of contact with Fambro side. That's not going to do him any favors, but car is still relatively in one piece as pit stops have begun here. As they've begun also for a few guys, they have ended and off of pit road. It's going to be the 9 of Hayden Pistorius that'll win that race off of pit road.
Yeah, I think the two that got the worst end of the deal would be Fambro and Randy is it Batter?
Randy Beater Jr.
Yeah, those two guys got the worst end of the whole ordeal.
Yeah, and I really feel bad for Randy Beatty Jr. His sponsor has Redens on the hood. It's because he's part of the company, and also we brought him on board to sponsor the Redenzo Sports Car Challenge that we run on Wednesday nights. So it was nice to see Randy Beatty Jr. running into this series, and pretty all right for the most part. Not, I don't think he considered himself a stock car racer, but has done pretty well and was doing pretty well at Talladega. Unfortunately, his night ended early, but Jeremy Miller notably stayed out. I imagine he's going to come in, because I am sure he picked up at least some sort of damage after he got turns. Check that out. And also, for fuel, we're talking about pit stops. I think this pretty much forced everyone's hand to come down on pit road.
Yeah, I don't think if you were to stay out, I don't think it would benefit you any. I mean, a track like this, if you stayed out, you'd have to pit within a few laps of going back to green. So
Oh,
I
and
think it was best for everybody to just come down.
oh, so something interesting's happened. Jeremy Miller is the leader, and he's actually almost put everyone a lap down. So I think there was a bit of a timing mistake here. They might actually have to hold him down on pit road because I don't think they want him just out in the by himself. So he's going to come down pit road. The admins might have him sit here because Hayden Pistorius is in second. There you see he's almost an entire lap down. Interesting seeing how this is going to sort out. And while that does, we're going to go to a commercial break really quickly. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Just adjustments. Right, and we're back live at Talladega yet again. Take a look at your current running order. If I can find the camera. There we go, that's the camera I'm looking. On the top of the scoring pylon, it's the 23 Jeremy Miller. He's still sitting on pit road, as I guessed correctly. The admin's just having him sit down there. That way he's not the only car on the lead lap. So trying to get this sort of under caution. It's going to be Pistorius in second, Travis McQuistion in third, Nate Stewart in fourth, Calvin Filarski in fifth, Casey Lacanis in sixth. Again, great run for the 50. 39's Will Roberts. Eighth is Tyler Dulger. Philip Deutsches is in ninth, and Mike Hurley. Great run for him in the 32 is going to run out your top 10. So we've been effectively a third of the way through the race. Anyone, I was asking you this earlier. You actually said Casey Lacatis was the driver that caught your eye, or just someone you were keeping your eye on. Anyone else that's piqued your interest as far as potential race besides 50?
I don't know. Hayden showed that he's got some pretty good muscle and speed. So it's really hard at these tracks to really predict. I mean, there's such a crapshoot, for lack of a better word. It's so hard to because anything can happen at these tracks. So it just makes it real difficult.
Well, I definitely think Pistorius is one to keep an eye on. Remember, too, the orange number indicating on a few of these drivers here tonight that they got a chance to win $5 at the end if if one of those 5 drivers makes it across the finish line first. So Pistorius actually has got the best chance. Castor, who's one of the other Derek Castor, who's one of the other drivers, he's 6 laps down. He's still actually running on the track. He's actually right ahead of Pistorius and trying to get a wave around once we get one to green. Some of your other drivers, there's only 4 of them in here of the 5 eligible. The other car being the 5 of Colin Fick. If I can find him. Currently in 27th. Quite a bit of damage to that car, although it looks like he got a decent amount fixed up. And we've seen in the Cup car, on super speedways at least, you can fix that thing up pretty well, or a decent amount, and get yourself back up there and still be competitive. What do you think about the Xfinity car? Do you think these guys can do something similar, or do you really think you need to have your car in as peak condition as possible to be competitive?
I think he could salvage a decent finish, but I don't think he'll he'll be able to, fight for the win. Um, I believe that the damage that he's got, that you know, the air is just it's gonna be terrible for him.
Really think so. And there you see Jerry Miller as he's getting put back of the field, which I think is more or less where he probably should be after being involved in that incident. So I don't think he's really arguing that much. Go to the back of the field here. Essentially, last car on the lead lap, 26th at the moment. Trying to look up here also, one of our last driver eligible for the cash at the end is Riley Thompson in 58. He's been keeping pretty quiet in the 58 machine. Has been running out of the double file pack we've seen in the front, so he's just been kind of biding his time. Currently 11th after starting in 22nd.
Now, going back to Colin, I was looking at his car, and the damage to the front of it doesn't look bad. If he didn't get any damage to his motor or engine, he might be all right. Because the only thing he's really missing is the rear clip from the back of the car. So it could be 50-50 on that. It could affect him, or it may not hurt him. We'll have to see when they go back to green.
Yeah, that's really the only thing you gotta wait to see is you gotta really wait till these guys get back racing. That's really when you gotta find out if you have some pace left. So I think for him, he's probably just gonna hope he can at least stick in the draft. He can gain quite a few spots that way. Guys wrecking out later in the race, but our first caution of the night, slowing the pace down, but these guys getting double file back up and ready to go green yet again. Gotta say, it's been a pretty solid race so far. I've been enjoying it for the most part, at least the fact that it's been so green. You guys been keeping pretty quiet. We haven't seen a whole lot of action. Do you think that that's going to start picking up now that we've had this caution, got everyone stacked up again?
I don't know. You still got 60 laps left. Actually 62, 63 laps left. So I don't know. If it was me, and if I had a choice, I'd probably still, take it easy a little bit. Maybe ride around the back like Thomas Bresci was doing, and a couple of other guys were doing. They were just keeping up with the lead draft, but they weren't right there on top of it either. So I'd wait a little bit longer. Maybe if they go again and do green flag stops, maybe there, because I have a feeling if we do green flag stops, the whole field is going to get spread out, because not everybody's going to hit their pit stops perfectly. Somebody's going to mess up. It's almost guaranteed. So it'll be it'll spread the field out quite a bit.
Good field making their way through turns 3 and 4 now. Gonna get ready to go back green. Green pretty much ever since the drop of the green flag until this recent caution. So we're gonna be able to get back up to racing speed, and also looking. Calvin Filarski, he's kind of poking his nose up here. He hasn't done well as of late in that 2 car. He's been struggling quite a bit. Could be a good race and a good chance for him to turn that around. The pace truck going to make the turn onto pit road. Getting ready to go back green on lap 32. Coming to lap 30. Field viable. Waiting for that green flag.
And this track's no different than any other cautions, precautions, so we could have a series of cautions now.
We'll see how long it takes. Green flag back in the air for the pack as they accelerate. The 13 getting a great push behind. Ooh, I heard some contact in the background. But it looks like for the most part we're going to make it through turn 1 okay. Already 3 wide in the middle of the field. Whoa, McQuistion, big block on the outside, was trying to hold Will Roberts at bay. Almost making contact there, but Roberts has got Deutschich in behind, as well as Evan Adams. They're mounting up a big charge. McQuistion looked like he was going to go into the middle, but they're going to tuck down low, and no one wants to work with Nate Stewart.
Yeah, you stole the words right out of my mouth right there. I was like, yep, and Will Roberts is making it 3 wide, and you beat me to.
We're going to dive down in below, and ooh, Roberts looks like now he might get caught out in the sucker hole a little bit. Radojic looks like he's going to leave him out to dry, but he's pulled back in behind Roberts. Now Stewart going to try to mount a charge to the outside lane. McQuistion going to have a look as well. Now we're getting racy.
Yeah, I think it'll calm down a little bit once everybody finds their groove, for lack of better words, and gets comfortable running where they're at again. I still say it's too early to be getting really, really racy.
I definitely think so. I'll have to keep an eye on these guys if they get too crazy. Brian Chambliss in the 25, that Redenzo machine. The other Redenzo-sponsored car on the grid. And behind the 32, Mike Hurley. And Hurley, another one of those drivers having a really good run, better than average for him. Also wanted to take a look at a few drivers back here. We're talking about guys who got some pieces of good amount of damage. The 28, Nick Johnson, our points leader, he's got damage to the rear of that car, but the front looking pretty all right. And even Fambro too, he's got major damage to the nose of that car. He's somewhat hanging on here. I feel like he might be a little bit too off of pace. There you can see Hollow moving to the outside, trying to get around him. I think this car might be just too damaged to keep up.
Yeah, I think maybe if he can stay into a small pack or in the pack, he might be able to keep up. But you know, small little packs like he's in right now, he might struggle unless he's sandwiched in between two cars.
Got a little bit out of lane on that inside, almost into the 13 and 8 Stewart. And Stewart, wow, gonna make a push the 93 McQuistion up to the front. This 13, he's been really aggressive in the back of some of these guys. And I think he's going to be one of those guys we want to keep an eye on by the end of this race. He could be the guy that pushes someone to the win here.
Or he could be the guy that pushes somebody into the wall. I mean, if you push just the wrong, if you hit him just the wrong spot, just like that right there, we got it.
Oh, and a major crash down in turn 3. Going to bring out our second caution. Will Roberts involved. Wow, very rare that we catch a crash on the onboard. I have no idea what happened there. So this is a look at these guys coming down the back straightaway. Oh, Roberts just got loose. Yeah, we're riding on board with the 9 Hayden Pistorius. I thought it was Cassie that we were riding, or sorry, Stewart that we were riding on board with. But interesting seeing what happened to Roberts, because that was just surprising to see his car break loose like that. Look here as they come down the back straightaway. Gonna see him go into the turn here. Got loose by himself. I thought someone might have hit him. Man, Pistorius went for a ride.
And that takes out a pretty good front runner right there. Actually, a couple of the front runners.
Yeah, and we're talking about Pistorius was one of those Fuel 5 drivers looking to get some cash at the end of this race. Fortunately for him, is not gonna get that chance. That car is pretty much destroyed after tumbling down the banking very violently. So that car is gonna be pretty much junk. Gonna give the lead over to McQuistion. I think a few more drivers have made a trip on down to pit road. With Deutschitz, I see Lakatos, Chambliss, Sheen, guys going down. Maybe top off on fuel here. Definitely can't make it to the end from here. I think they're just covering their bases here.
Yeah, another key moment is our points leader. He was involved in that as well. He got another piece of that wreck and a lot more damage to his car this time. As well as Mike Hurley. He was having such a good run. He got caught up in it as well.
Getting some interesting right on board with the 19 fella for Deutschitz, and I'll take a look at that. Might as well since we have the time. Long cautions at Talladega. Right on board here with the 19. Got the 39 of Roberts up ahead of him. Oh man. messing behind. Or Deutschich, he got a little bit of damage to the nose of that car. Try to see, get a good angle here as he comes out of turn 2. You can see the nose a little bit busted up. I think he might be in better shape than some other drivers like the 5 of Colin Fambro. And speaking of which, Fambro has a chance of fixing that car up a little bit more to get it more in racing shape. Alright, and with that, I think we're going to go to break just for a little bit, just to kind of rest our voices here, because I feel like we're going to be looking at a decent run in the next stint, so don't be right back. Right, and we're back here at Talladega. Here, one lap to green. The field double filed up. We'll set the stage for you. It's McQuistion, Dulger, Nate Stewart, Lakadas, Brian Chambliss, David Blackwood, Matt Holliba, Jeremy Miller, Philip Radojcic, and it'd be, I think, Calvin Florsky. Or sorry, no, it'll be Tyler Hensley in the 44. They'll be rounding out your top 10 here. Getting ready for the restart. We're noting too, we found under the caution, Nick Johnson got a lot more damage after that caution was involved. That car going to be significantly damaged, so he's going to lose some points, but I think it's going to be the last thing on a lot of these drivers' minds, because a lot of drivers in the front have a chance of getting their first win in the series. This is going to be interesting here as drivers are lining up into the trioval, getting close together. Get ready to go green. And the green flag is out here at Talladega.
And it just goes to show how quickly everything can change with just one wreck.
Billy Can lost a lot of front runners as well. Hayden Pistorius, Will Roberts out of the running. So they're looking like they're going to lose, a lot of points and just not have a good finish after running so well for a majority of this race. Now, as you see, looking at Casey Lakadas race down the back straightaway with Brian Chambliss pushing him on the outside, but it's going to be Tyler Dulger on the inside that's going to hike ahead with McQuistion and Nate Stewart in that 13. And I think the 13, he's going to be the sleeper here. Yeah, actually, I don't even think you could call him a sleeper because he's been pretty aggressive so far.
Yeah, this is where Brian and Casey, not a whole lot of people went up high. They all kind of stayed down low, and that run they had fizzled out. And they dropped back, but they looks like they're going to find a line to get in and squeeze into.
Riding on board now with Tyler Hensley. He's riding behind Philip Radojcic. Radojcic has a little bit of damage to the nose of his car, but looks like that's not really hurting him a whole lot. He's still running pretty well. Rich is actually going to make a move to the outside lane now. Going to have a look at that 19 car by himself. Like we're a lot more single file here, and I think this is a lot of these guys trying to run out the laps, some side-by-side action. Blackwood looking to the outside of Holliba. Jeremy Miller trying to follow his way on through as well.
I don't know if it's, everybody's trying to, calm down, let the race finish, or we've got that many damaged cars that this is what we've got left that's capable of running in the lead pack.
Yeah, potentially. And looking up ahead, Hensley's pulled out a line. Radojcic's on the outside. Blackwood looking like he's going to join in his #1 machine. We're going to make it here double file yet again. So these guys aren't going to be too patient up here. A lot of these guys want to get to the front. Making some really solid time up there with Radojcic in behind. See the 44, he's actually going to dip. I was just going to say he might dip to the inside lane. No, he's actually going to use it as a draft and try to get a better run off the corner. So Hensley getting the job done pretty well here.
It's a good way to move up, but it's also a risky move because if you're just a little bit off, you could clip the guy behind you or hit the guy in front and start a big old wreck. And I'm just noticing that Nick Johnson has retired.
Oh yeah, I'm not too surprised. That car was pretty torn up. I think he might have just been trying to pass some of the guys that were involved in that last crash, but unfortunately going to end his day in the pits. Meanwhile, looking at the 23 of Jeremy Miller, as he's trying to build up a run here on the outside lane. He was involved in that first caution, got away with pretty minor damage, and now showing that he's still got some solid pace in that 23 machine after taking the middle of this race a little bit easy. Now starting to poke his way back to the front.
Yeah, and this is probably about the point of the race where you should start seeing those who are lagging in the back, trying to avoid a lot of the wrecks, may start coming forward, like Thomas Bressi. I see he's up in here, and looks like maybe in the top 10.
Hensley going to Hensley trying to work that outside lane now over the outside of Talladega. McQuistion in behind that 93. A lot of black and red cars to the front of the field.
It gets a little confusing on tell who's who.
It definitely does, but one driver that's been standing out, not only was Painski, but also the fact that I haven't mentioned his name pretty much all race up until the start of the broadcast we were talking about, is Painski, the 24, Thomas Bressi. He's been very quiet tonight so far in that 24 car. Started back in 24th, is currently up into 11th. He's been slowly crawling his way up here. Might start to see this 24 starting to make some noise. Also another driver we haven't really seen a whole lot of, which I'm a bit surprised of, although we're starting to get into the later parts of this race. Liam Sheen in the 96. Been pretty aggressive with these super speeder races. Do you think he's got what it takes to win?
I forgot he was here. He's been so quiet. Yes, Liam is definitely somebody you have to worry about. It looks like he's made it through all these wrecks with no damage. So if he's got no damage, he's definitely somebody you have to keep an eye on.
Definitely looking back up to the front here. Mostly still the same guys in the same order they were running earlier. Ooh, as they say that, McQuistion looked like he was eyeing a move to the outside. Delger also going to take the middle of the track. Ooh, McQuistion trying to squeeze to the outside lane. Oh, Hensley sideways and around he goes in the tri-oval. Oh, and I think we're seeing some wrecking up ahead. Or not. Somehow we stay green. And Hensley going to end his day slow to the inside. Finally, a caution comes out. It looks like, ooh, Licata's slow. And a few more as well. Another wreck down in turn 1. A very confusing incident.
This wreck seems to be a continuation of what happened with the 44. I just think trying to get control of it, and he never could get control of it and ended up losing.
Look at what happened. Alright. Here we are riding, looking at the 44 of Hensley. We're going to get tapped by Radojcic, sending him to the outside lane. And so the 7 of Cal Westwood, he spun to the inside, and then Casey Lacatas was involved in something else. Ooh, he caught the 93 of McQuistion. Go also try to look at this in slow-mo here. It's the only way we can really capture all that happened. There we go. Now looking at... Ooh, McQuistion just came down on Lacatas pretty hard on the entry into 1. That sent Lacatas around. He got clipped. Into the wall he went. And then McQuistion caught someone else. Ooh, that was the 19 of Radojcic. I got a massive piece of that. I can find where he is. Trying to find everyone in the order. Right on board with the 19 as well. Here's his look. What occurred?
Lacatas doesn't seem like he got too bad. I mean, he's got some left front damage and maybe a little bit of right front damage, but it could be a lot worse. He kept it out on the wall.
Hollowell got a pretty decent lick. Well, and also there's also the 1 of Blackwood. So a lot of another wreck taking out a lot of front runners here in the middle part of this race. And we still have quite a bit ways to go, and a lot of drivers starting to drop like flies now.
I believe Brian Chambliss has a golden horseshoe because somehow he missed all of that.
Yeah,
I don't know how.
Really solid job. Actually, go take a look at that because we missed it on the last wreck, but I think we might be able to see him how he got through this mess because it was quite a mess to get through.
And the 93 almost clipped him in the right rear, and somehow he managed to get just by.
There he is. Chambliss just gonna sneak his way on by. Yeah, you weren't kidding when he was... Wow! I was looking off the rear. of the 93 and just came flying, took up the entire screen. And that's how close Brian Chandler's was to being involved in that last wreck. You're talking about a horseshoe. Definitely has it somewhere in that car. So now with the laps winding down, we got about 44 laps to go. How are we looking on fuel? I was saying 47's a little bit out of the question, but do you think we're just on the cusp of making it, or do you think it's going to be too long?
I don't know. I didn't do a fuel run or anything. I think they may be able to make it with the laps they got left. If they get another quick caution and get a couple more laps, I think they could make it. I don't know.
Yeah. Nate Stewart. If we're quiet for just a second, you can hear him. Sound coming from the car. He's shutting it off, and he's down on the apron too. He's trying to save fuel. Anyone else in behind trying to do the same? Sound like it.
But I don't remember if we got a green-white checker or not.
I believe we have 2 in this. If I'm not mistaken, in this series. I feel like that's the. Oh no, they there's a time limit for these guys. And they'll do as unlimited attempts as time allows. That's what these guys are running with. Also, Evan Adams going to pull off to pit road, surrendering a 3rd place spot, I believe. Come on down, put himself in the back, top off on gas. Actually, David, if you can, since you were able to look at the time, how much time do we have left? Actually, as David's trying to find that, you have the 09 of Brent Jones. Haven't seen his car all day anywhere really near the front, but having a really solid run now. It started back in 30th, is up into 4th.
Yep, sorry, I was hitting the wrong button again. I was thinking yeah. We got about 52 minutes left. We're at an hour and 3 minutes out of an hour 55.
Okay. Yeah, so we definitely got enough time to finish out this race, and maybe 1 or 2 green-white checkers, depending. So that's, I guess, what we're looking at here. I have a feeling we might not need a green-white checkered, although at the setting we're getting pretty low on cars here. Radojcic has retired. Matt Hollub has retired. Looking at Bresci, he's actually the lowest scored car still running on the track. Everyone that's a lap down. It looks like they've pulled out of the race. I think David Blackwood, yeah, that car is pretty torn up. I think he might call it a day. No, really, him. He'd just be running out there with a damaged car. So we got 20 guys still running of the 32 that took the green flag. So running low on cars here. Really amazed by the amount of the list of drivers here. How many of them don't have a win in this series? It's majority of the field at the moment.
Yeah, I've noticed that Liam Sheen has pretty good rear end damage, so that might change where he
oh yeah,
be able to run.
Look off the nose of Evan Adams. There's Liam Sheen, that white and blue Ford Mustang right up ahead with a dented nose, and I think really, or not nose, dented rear bumper. And I think really the important thing to highlight is the fact that, you know, it's not really the bumper that you care about a whole lot. Guys, I don't really think I've been pushing a whole lot of anything. You see, actually going to pull off into pit road. I think really the important thing to be concerned about is the spoiler. Because that's also damaged quite a bit. And, you know, you got a little bit of spoiler there to begin with. So you are already dealing with a little bit of rear downforce. If you lose that bit, it's going to mean a lot. Because it's going to make these things a little bit more tail happy. So that's something to be a little bit concerned about. At least the nose of that car looks fine, so he's definitely got the power. It's just the handling, especially at top speed. And we saw Roberts, he lost it fairly easily. He was saying that it was just, you know, as he was looking down at his gauges, just missed the turn by a little bit, put a little bit too much wheel, and the car went around. So, and that was with a perfectly fine car. So you definitely got to be wary about the damage, especially in the rear of that car.
Yeah, you do. And I was just sitting here thinking to myself, I said, I know there's one car out there right now that has absolutely no damage to it. And that would be mine.
You just get back up there. You are 49 laps down, so better start getting some laps back. Yeah.
I'm having more fun up here in the broadcast booth.
Appreciate it. But yeah, no, you're definitely not wrong about the damage thing. I'm looking at Nate Stewart. His car is fine. Dulger and Chambliss. A lot of the guys that have been in the front are pretty unscathed. Blarski's got a little bit of a dent in his car. I think and for a lot of guys, it's minor dents and bruises, which doesn't ruin your car. It's really the big dents, and especially the engine, that's going to be hurting you at a place like that. So, for the most part, most of the cars in the field are fine. I think a lot of guys that had severely damaged cars, they've just already pulled it off. They figure there's no point running.
Yeah, I'm curious. I know that Casey Licata's broadcast or streams his races. I'm curious if he's gotten any damage, motor damage.
Yeah, I think that car seems fine. It looks like it hit in the left front and on the right. So the nose itself should be depending on how hard the hits were. The 50 car has still got a chance. Are you still going to keep him as your pick to potentially win this? Gonna look at someone else.
I'd still keep him if he. I mean, I'm not gonna change. You know, if he ended up getting some engine damage, I'll have to stick with my truck.
Getting ready here for the restart. Running out of laps. As laps are starting to wind on down. And here we go. Green flag back in the air at Talladega. Right on board with Travis McQuistion in the 93s. He's starting to build up a run on that inside lane. Now potentially going to make a move to the outside here. Dulger caught up in the middle, and also Brent Jones. Whoa! Dulger aggressive into the outside lane. Almost looked like he was going to wreck that car. But got it back under control. Not like the 7 of Kyle Westwood. I haven't mentioned a whole lot of his machine. I saw him. He went almost spinning off into turn 1 in the last incident. Was able to save it and keep his track position up to the front.
And look who we got leading this race, the guy you've talked about all night, Mr. Nate Stewart.
Stewart in that 13 has been doing a pretty solid job, and I feel like, though, that 13's been better of a pusher. You know, we're talking about he can't really push a whole lot, but he's been aggressive where he needed to be and has been getting guys to the front. Now he's up in the front. We'll see how well he can lead and defend his lead. I think he'll do pretty well early on here as we're mostly single file up in the front, some double file action in the back here. How about Liam Sheen working with the 24 Bresci to get both of them to the front?
Yeah, that damage on Sheen, it may not affect him as much as you would think, but give it a few laps and see if that damage starts slowing him down.
Yeah, and I think if anything, I would be concerned just when he needs to make an aggressive move and dart the car in a certain direction. I think that's where that lack of downforce, what I think is a lack of downforce, might affect him. But we'll have to see. He's actually lost Bresci. Bresci's dished him to the inside lane, and there's Colin Fambro, and the driver we saw get damaged pretty early on. So it looks like he's going to drift back to. I'm still certain that's his teammate in the 99, William Schmidt. They're going to work on the outside lane, maybe try to move up to the front. Speaking of which, still single file up there.
Yeah, it looks like we're mostly single file through most of the field. You still got Sheen on the outside, but I'm wondering if that's because he's not quite up to speed with that damage.
Yeah, and I feel like we might not see some guys try here because I feel like we're definitely going to have to make a pit stop. I'll be amazed if anyone can make it to the end. We saw Stewart was trying to save some fuel up in front, but it really doesn't help if you're the leader. You're saving the least amount of fuel, and some of these other guys are able to stay off throttle. As you see Sheen now catch up to the 58 of Thompson. They're potentially going to mount a charge on that outside lane.
Hey, we got a 3-car pack up here, and they're starting to make a little headway towards the front. Sheen's right in the middle of that.
Team's blowing by guys on that inside lane. They're making some really good time to the front. They're already caught the third car on the inside line. That's the two of Calvin Filarski, and they're showing no sign of slowing down. Look at this run.
It looks like they may even go to the front
Yeah.
all the way.
Thompson going to take the lead, potentially on the outside lane. Looks like he's easily going to lead this lap. How about that? They got through a lot of cars in a very short amount of time. In fact, I think all three cars might clear. Wow!
All three cars did clear, so, and they left, Sheen left,
Yeah. I'm surprised Thompson decided to stay on the outside lane. He's going to lose the lead to Liam Sheen and Schmidt, who are going to take it on that inside lane. Now here comes the 13 and 8 Stewart in behind. They're actually starting to pull away a little bit from Chambliss. Now that outside lane, really, it was amazing to see how quickly it can go to the front, but also how quickly it can go to the back with Thompson with no help falling back to the 7 of Kyle Westwood. Maybe they can try to mount up a charge. If they get another car in lane, you're staying the golden rule pretty much for the lanes at least. You need at least 3 to 4 cars to work with someone and get yourself to the front. They're starting to get some help now from Brent Jones, and also help with 62 Wilco. He was a lap down earlier in the race. Found himself back on the lead lap in that Kit-Kat machine now, essentially trying to move his way up front.
yeah, Riley Thompson, he got, for lack of a better word, screwed there when Sheen and his teammate, they just dumped him and left him up high, and he's mounting a pretty good comeback and a charge back towards the front. But now he swings up high and looks like he's going to fall back even further now.
Yeah, it looks like he's actually trying to play this a little bit more patient, so I think I thought he wanted to be in the front, but it looks like maybe he's trying to drift back. Maybe he senses that there could be another caution, so he's just trying to stay out of it wherever it may be. Just put himself in the back where he can stay out of trouble.
I just got word that the 44 has blown up.
Ooh. Before Tyler Hensley, yeah, slow on the apron. Can't really hear anything coming from that car, so that's going to be unfortunate for him. He's probably just going to pull it off the track here and retire back in 20th place, so unfortunate end for the 44's day.
And look at the lead that Sheen and his teammate have put on 3rd and 4th place drivers. I mean, they've got a good gap.
Yeah, I'm amazed they've been able to pull this gap, especially you're talking earlier about these cars overheating if they get too close to each other. It makes it pretty hard, and that's part by design. Prevent these guys from getting too far away from one another. And actually, you see now, I think they're starting to lose it because that 99's running hot. He can't push. Here comes the 2 Filarski working that outside lane.
And it's just that quick too. I mean, they were out to a 6-7 car length advantage, and now they were getting swallowed up by the eye line.
Store going to shift his car to that outside lane. It's double file up at the front. Calvin Filarski trying to take away the lead of this race from Liam Sheen. He's actually going to get clear the 96. Does he go down low? Does he stay up high? Going to stay up high, stick with Westwood, but will lead this lap. Dive down low and pull in front of the 96 of Liam Sheen. He's going to take the lead, and been seeing some guys requesting a sound. Sure has been waiting for a good chance to do it because the action's been getting pretty intense, but looks like it's died down for a little bit. Let's do a sound surge. gonna have to pull away from that sound surge because just saw the 13 go up in a puff of smoke. He's blown his engine. And if I was expecting anyone to blow their engine, I was not expecting the.
Yeah, I think he pushed a little too long.
Here, yeah, he knew it. He was starting to slow down, and there went the engine. Pulled out a line to make sure no one else got involved, but that was really unfortunate because it was looking like this 13 might have had a shot of taking home the win, but unfortunately, he's going to limp that car back down to pit lane. And another car bites the dust. So the 44 and now the 13. So the two drivers have gotten up in smoke pretty recently. Do we dare see a third?
Yeah, I believe he just pushed way too much, too long, and up it went.
Up it went indeed. And so now as these guys come across the line, we're looking at just about 31 laps to go. And I think now we're pretty much entered into the fuel window, and I think now is a time where we can see some guys potentially trying to make some green flag pit stops. I do think a lot of these guys are going to go to the end on fuel, but I feel like they're definitely going to have to make a stop, don't you think, David?
Yeah, I believe they're going to have to make one more pit stop. And do you short pit, or do you stay out as long as possible and pit when everybody else pits? I mean, the whole field is pretty much single file.
I think, well, again, you know, we always talk about, you know, the overcut, the undercut, you know, as far as tires are concerned. But tires don't really matter a whole lot unless you haven't changed them the whole race. Then you really need to come down and change some tires. But, you know, for the most part, I think you can just see these guys take right side tires only as little fuel as they need and get back out there. And I was these guys, I would just run the tank out, especially due to the fact you want to stay out there just in case a caution comes out, so that you don't get put a lap down and you're going to be you're going to have a one-up on everyone else that did come in earlier. So I would just run the tank out.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was my theory was. But do you take right side tires? Do you take no tires? Do you take left side tires? If you've already taken the right sides, do you just go ahead and take left side so you have fresher left sides? I mean, so many different scenarios to run through your mind.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if you haven't really taken tires already, so I would say at least take rights. If you know, taken rights at some point in the last 30 laps, I could say you would probably go, you know, to the end on the tires you have. So we'll see here. It really just depends on how much gas you're filling up. If you're going to fill up, you know, halfway, that's about 2 tires, so you might as well change 2 tires. So it really depends on what these guys want to do. They can cut out some extra time without taking tires. So I don't think these guys have been running them too hard to the point where you could see a flat, but you know, it's all up to the drivers and what they feel in the car.
And I don't really know how long they could go, but do you have anybody who's saving fuel and maybe trying to stretch it to the end?
The one driver saw saving fuel on the pace lap has blown his engine, so I haven't really seen anyone else try to save some gas. Again, I really don't think we can make it to the end with as many laps as we took that restart with. So if some guys try to come in to top off on gas, they'll be amazed if they could make it to the end, but I think it's going to be pretty tight and to the point where these guys might just decide on just coming on down. And also, how about John Wilco in the 62? Started in 29th all the way up in the 6th with a lap down at one point, got that lap back, and now he's running pretty well. And I think it really just comes to show, you know, for these races, it doesn't matter where you start, it matters where you finish, and definitely proving that point right.
Yeah, and something else to point out is a great comeback for Casey Lakatos, who's right behind John Wilco. He bounced back from that spin that he had in a previous car.
Did a really solid job doing that. He's moved up into 7th place. In behind them, side-by-side action, Miller and the 7 of Kyle Westwood side-by-side. There's also Steve Herring, Tyler Dulger, Richard Nash in this mix as well. Also Riley Thompson. We saw Thompson, he was running up pretty hard in the front, had a shot at taking the lead, bowed out, pulled out to the outside and dropped on back, so he's waiting idly in 14th.
Jeremy Miller is still in this thing. I don't know if he's got any damage or not, but he's still here, so he can still be a factor if he's damage free.
Looking at Jeremy Miller in the 23. Coming out of turn 2, also the Big shadow cast over the track. I think it got clouded to the way. It's making it pretty dark.
Yeah, if it stays like that, yeah, something else to figure out. The cars may pick up speed and may make them burn more fuel if it stays overcast like that.
Starting to see it get double file up to the front. Here comes the 7 of Westwood working around the outside. He's got Herring in behind, as well as the 97 to that is Richard Nash. So he's trying to make some noise. Haven't seen this 97 car up in the front all day long. And there's also Brett Jones, who's sitting as a comer and goer to the front.
Yeah, Brett Jones started back here in the back with me. He was, I think, 27, 28. So he's made a pretty good charge up towards the front. Stayed clean all night, stayed out of trouble, and he's right here at the end.
Guys fly through these corners here. Westwood making some really good time on the outside lane, has a shot of potentially taking the lead away. Amazing we haven't seen any of these other guys jump up there just, defend that lane, especially the Larski. He seems to be pretty comfortable and happy down on the bottom. Are you a bit surprised we haven't seen someone try to, maintain both lanes like we see in real life?
I am kind of surprised. I thought there would have been a little bit more side-by-side racing like it was at the beginning of the race, and I'm surprised that somebody hasn't actually, some more cars hadn't jumped up to the top lane to help those 4 or 5 cars that are up there and see if they can't get better position for the end. Or then again, they might be thinking, all right, well, we got one pit stop to do here in probably about, I would say, about 15, 20 laps.
Yeah. And I think I agree with you on that. I think a lot of people are seeing it that way. Why bother wasting energy and potentially getting yourself involved in a wreck by being aggressive when there's still a pit stop remaining, which is pretty much going to reset the order no matter what way you put it, as long as you're in this lead pack. So I think a lot of guys feeling it's pointless to fight at this point. If anything, just matter you're fighting a decent position in line and just staying there. But those 4 on the outside trying to make something happen here. Ooh, Filarski went up the hill in turn 2. Game Machine looked like he might have gone up the inside, but still going to wait in behind.
Yeah, it looks like Kyle Westwood is going to actually be able to take the lead away from the 2 car here coming out of the turn 3.
Whoa, 98 going to move to the outside, almost made it through wide. That could have been a wreck right there on the front. I think that's the last thing we need is another major incident taking out quite a few guys.
Yeah, and if you notice that when he went up like that, the 7 lost all of that momentum that he had going towards passing the...
I'm a bit surprised that we saw that happen. I would have thought he would have stayed in line, trying to help out his buddy, but just left him to dry there. And look, they were making some good progress, and that's all for naught. Here comes Filarski a little bit high off of 2. And it looks like Filarski wants to go up there and defend, but has just not gone up and done it yet. Here comes the 7, yet again on that outside.
I'm wondering if maybe that the 98 was pushing the 7 and maybe bumped him just wrong, and it kind of threw him up the track like that.
Riding on board with the 98. Currently sitting in behind the 7 there. They're putting Evan Adams a lap down, the 59 car, and Westwood going to pull on down. He's going to clear for the lead and lead a lap.
Because I say that because the 97 got right back behind 7 and helped push him to the lead, and now he's being pushed by Wilco, who, as we said earlier, was a lap down earlier in the race and being pushed to the lead.
And now Herring getting a great run off the corner. Does he come down in front of the 7 to clear that inside lane, or does he stay up there? If I was him, I would stay up there, but it looks like they're going to weasel their way on down. But oh! And the 7 of Westwood gets doored by the 09 of Brent Jones. He comes back up the track. Props to everyone for not causing a crash there. That easily could have been one. I think they've stabilized for now, so we'll take a look at what happened there. That was interesting driving from the 09, to say the least.
I think that was a classic case of not quite clear, thinking that it was clear.
He was nowhere near clear. He started pulling out when he was still alongside. And I'm hoping he has a spotter turned on because he just doored the 77. Sorry, doored the 7 out of it. Everyone else checking up in behind to let that 7 come back up in lane. And now they're starting to build up a charge here. Those 3 have gotten out ahead. Here comes the 7 of Westwood for revenge potentially, trying to claim some spots.
I just can't believe that Wilco has rebounded as well as he is. Now he's fighting for the win. He could win this thing.
He really can. He's running really well at the moment, and very little looks like very little can be taken away from him. Again, from 29th all the way up in a second, and only 32 guys started this race, so it's a really solid climb forward for the 62. Just a matter of can he stay here at the end, and I think really this next stop is going to be the decider for who is going to do well in this race if we don't have a caution come out.
Okay, Finian, I got a question for you. You're coming to 20 to go, or actually 19 to go. Do you pit early? Just take gas, or do you just run it out?
I run the tank out as little gas that's in there. I think really with a lot of these guys running to this point, I think they're just gonna take gas and that's it. I don't think they're gonna take any tires because again, that cost about 7 seconds, 6 or 7 seconds. They might just take fuel and call it only 4 seconds, and that 3 seconds can be worth quite a bit. It gets you out ahead of some of the guys in the pack, and it could really, potentially separate it out to a point where it's only a few of you fighting for the win. And I think also a big thing too is going to be a matter of coming down with other drivers. You do not want to come down here by yourself, otherwise you're definitely going to lose the pack.
I mean, there's only 16 cars on the lead lap. Well, actually 17. Colin Farber is on the lead lap, but he's 36 seconds behind. So that's why I was asking. I mean, do you take a gamble of only being 16 to come a little early, get that gas, and maybe get ahead of some of the cars that either you're behind or maybe even get the lead?
Yeah, we'll have to see here. Looking at Thomas Bresci, he's currently riding in 8th, the leading car on that outside lane, what little is left of it. Potentially idling his time here. I'm surprised if we won't see him up in the front by race's end. I'm sure he's trying to get there. Saw Steve Herring, he had a little bit of a flash. He disappeared for quite a while and reappeared. That's probably the worst thing to have is the leading car link. Looks like it's stabilized for now.
Well, the 97 is on pit road.
Richard Nash down, and this was talking about don't come down by yourself, and from the looks of it, I think he's by himself.
Yes, he did come by himself, but it could possibly hurt him or it could help him. You never know. He might come out right in front of everybody on still. Oh no, he retired.
Oh, okay, maybe he had something to do. That's unfortunate. So the 97 of Nash, who's looking like he might have had a solid run. Gonna call it a day here. We're under 20 laps left in the race.
How many laps will they go if from the last time they pitted? I didn't get to write that down.
Currently Steve Herring up in front, 27. And I think that's the same story for everyone else in the field. Some guys, it's been 29 laps since they come to the pits, although it's pretty much everyone pitted under that last caution. So that's where everyone's looking at the moment. So I'd say they maybe got 10 more laps of fuel. That means you're still going to have to come down with at least 6 laps to go.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That somebody might try to stretch it if they've been saving fuel, maybe, backing out, keeping it half throttle, or maybe even clutching it a little bit here and there.
Let's come down just yet, and I really think you have to do some amazing fuel saving to the point where your car would have to be inspected afterwards to go an extra 6 laps. So didn't see if anyone dares try, but I think a lot of these guys are eyeing that pit stop. It's just a matter of when they want to come down. Riley Thompson, the 58, trying to mount a charge on the outside lane by himself. And you can do this in the Cup car. You can work that outside lane and just draft yourself up to the front. We've seen it work pretty well just due to the side draft on those things. On these cars, not as effective, but it looks like he's making some progress.
Yeah, but for how long?
Actually gaining more time as they're getting up here. They're a little bit slower. He's just actually okay. So I kind of take that back. You made that work pretty well.
Yeah, he's up to almost 4th.
Yeah, it's the best we've seen anyone do by themselves up to the front. Usually we've seen a lot of these guys drop to the back, but he's been using that side draft to his advantage and slowly moving his way up. He's third now in line, side by side with Cal Westwood. As we see the 98 of Herring pull out to defend that lead, or does he stay single file? Looks like he is. Thompson is starting to stall out as he faces a lot of that clean air in front that's going to slow him down a bit.
Yeah, he needs a hole to squeeze into.
Fortunately, no one's going to give him a hole, I don't think, unless someone's really feeling generous. I think a lot of these guys are going to defend for every spot they can. As we're approaching pit stops here and also have 14 laps left to go. Oop, there's the 7, going to pop out of line, join the 58, and now they got a chance of making a run here at the leaders.
Yeah, but racing like that now, it makes me wonder, can they go it the rest of the way?
I don't think they can. Typically we've seen in the Cup car, before they added the taper space, they would go maybe 40 laps if you do a decent amount of saving. Maybe a little bit more than that, but I think it was the same story for the other 3 cars and most of the Xfinity car too, so I don't think they can go really much more than 40. And currently as they come across the line, if they ran 32, it's going to be just a little bit too much.
Because I was thinking that the Xfinity car had a little bit bigger fuel cell than the Cup cars.
I have to see here. I'll be quite surprised if they do make it to the end here. Saw the 58 Riley Thompson pulling in line. I left the 77 of Westwood out there. Now he's starting to drop back after having a really good run in the later part of this race. No one's letting him in line, so he's gonna have to try to maybe make his own space on that inside line to come on through. But no spot for him. Laps winding down here, everyone's single file. I think this is probably the real indicator, I think, of what we're going to have pit stop. The fact that no one's making a move, coming at 10 to go. I have a feeling we're definitely going to see some pit stops here in a little bit. It's a matter of who's going to bite on first and how many guys are going to come down. Do you think we'll see the whole pack come down at once, or typically see these guys come down in groups?
That's a good question.
The question was going to make a move on down, he's staying in line. Of Westwood still on that outside lane. Also, another car trying to catch up to him. That's the not Colin Fanville. It's the 09 of Brent Jones trying to catch up to the 7. Also, 59 of Evan Adams, but Adams a lap down at Castrol 59. So that doesn't have a whole lot to fight for. And also, we're looking at Colin Fanville on the 5. He's a lap down too in 17th, 10 seconds behind the next car in that pack. So he's back quite a bit.
Well, Finney, I did a little research real quick, and the Xfinity cars still run a 22-gallon fuel cell compared to the 18-gallon that the Cup cars run.
Oh, really? Well, I know. I haven't actually, run the new Xfinity car, so I guess that might be why I haven't noticed. I haven't really run the Xfinity car recently at all, so I guess that's them either. I assume they have the same 18.7 gallons as most of the other cars, but more you know. So we'll see here. I am a bit surprised in that case then of how single file this has been. I haven't seen these guys trying to make some moves, because now is definitely the time to go.
Yeah,
you do have enough gas.
Yeah, I was curious because I could, like I said, I thought that the Xfinity had a bigger cell, so I did some research just a few minutes ago, and actually the trucks in Xfinity and the ARCA and the NASCAR West Series, they all run 22 cells. The Cup cars are the only one that run the smaller fuel cell.
Like, whoa! Brent Jones getting to the wall off of turn 4. Clipped the wall a little bit. Doesn't look like it hurt the car a whole lot. Was worried that would turn into a wreck. But has lost some time. Westwood now also trying to do what we saw Thompson pull off earlier, and that's just to kind of side draft his way to the front. Doesn't seem to be as successful as 58 was with that. But he's trying. Patiently biding their time here as the laps begin to wind down. No matter of who's going to pull out a line first to really initiate the move. One seems to be happy running single file at the moment.
Yeah, I was trying to do some research in iRacing to see if they actually, implemented those things, and I can't find anything saying if each division has their different size fuel cell. Or
oh,
not,
actually,
so
what if you jump in your car and see?
I can do that real quick.
I was gonna say that'll give us probably the best accurate measurement of it. The field single file now as it come to the line. It's 7 laps to go. Get back to the stripe.
My car has 18.7 gallons of fuel in it.
Oh, okay, so it is the normal 18.7. Other than there's that discrepancy. So, not sure why that exists, but looking at the 7 of Westwood now, it looks like he's starting to gain some traction here. Make a charge to the front, and this is really why I'm surprised no one else has decided to peek out, especially the 58 Thompson. We saw them work earlier together and make it to the front. So 58 still in line. Westwood, I think he's begging for someone to come out and help him. In behind, no one in behind, no one in front.
And I've seen some people making pit stops, so I think that's exactly what you're right. They're going to have to pit with about 6 to go.
Oh yeah, here we go. Herring in the 98. He's coming down, but no one else with him. And I guess that makes sense because he was our leader for quite a bit, so he's been burning up the most gas. And I'm curious on how much further these other guys can take. We also saw Brent Jones was one of those cars. He's actually just now coming off of pit road in that 09 machine, so he's going to rejoin in front of the pack. Speaking of which, here comes John Wilco leading this race. How about if he wins that Kit Kat machine? Be an amazing run for him. He's got a lot of guys to fight off, though. This race still pretty much on. Making back to the stripe. It's going to be 5 laps to go. Westwood actually gaining more and more traction. He's been getting more aggressive, and that inside lane's been getting stacked up. So now he's starting to move his way further to the front. Do we see the second trip of cars down onto pit road? Not. Really interested in seeing if these guys can make it now. Looking at their stint graphic, they've just got a lot of them gone 41 laps on their tank, and some others 39.
I tell you, Finney, I'm so confused right now. I don't know. Because, like I said, I researched it on the internet, and it said that the Vicinity Cup the trucks have 22 gallons, and the Cups have the 18 gallon. But iRacing doesn't do that.
Yeah, they don't, and I'm not really sure how much fuel these guys got left. Although now it's starting to pick up. Here comes the 88 of Talladega, and also the 46 of Chad Simpson. He's been pretty quiet. Got some damage to the rear of that 46 Park VR machine, but that's not slowing him down at all. He's trying to make up a charge on the outside line. Here we come to the line. It's going to be 4 laps to go. Things are starting to heat up.
So I'm wondering if it's going to be real close for guys and they're going to run out type deal.
If it is going to be close, who's going to start to run out first? If you have a guy run out of fuel ahead of you, that's not going to be good. Westwood's going to pull out in front of Wilco. He's going to take the lead. The race is on.
Well, Westwood's got a pit. He just said he had to pit.
Oh, it is said over the radio. Interesting stuff. Here comes Dulger now in the middle. How about Miller in the 23 out of nowhere up the middle, 3 wide? Going to be in behind the 88 of Dulger. Is anyone else besides the 7 going to come on down? Let's
24, Bessie's going to be pitting.
Late race pit stops. When I was seeing these guys, potentially running up the tank, I didn't think they were running this close. Bressie and Westwood hard into the brakes, going to pull in. It's going to give the lead of the race to Dulger in the 88, 3 laps to go.
I'm thinking if it was close, you could save enough fuel. Let's say like Brian Chamberlain, who hadn't really been doing any bumping or anything. So he may have been saving fuel.
Gotta hope at this point you saved enough gas if you're planning on taking to the end. Again, we're so close to that margin where you could make it. Judging by the amount of guys that come down to pit road, some guys didn't save enough. I'm not sure these guys in front were able to save much either. They're all going at mostly the same pace out of turn 4 this time. For the 88. No more takers. McQuistion trying to make up the move up the inside of Filarski. He's going to get that spot done. 2 laps to go. I think at this point you're on the tank out.
I think at this point you've made your bed. You're going to have to lay in it. If you run out of gas, you run out of gas.
Oh, and Riley Thompson, aggressive move to the inside of Filarski is going to get on by. Filarski pulling out a lane. Not sure if he's feeling he's low on gas, so going to try to pull out a line. Have to see here. Dulger is still leading this race. It's Wilco in 3rd, but Jeremy Miller in the 23 in 2nd. He's a pretty aggressive driver. We'll see how he's going to try to get this done here as they're actually starting to pull away from Chambliss in that 25. Riley Thompson to the outside of him.
Yeah, Kolarski is having to pit, so remember he led quite a bit of this race, so he probably burned up a lot more fuel than some of these other guys.
Yeah, indeed he did. There you see everyone passing pit road. They're definitely not going to come down seeing the checker flag. But here we go, white flag in the air. You got what you got now. Let's see if they have enough. Wilco making a move to the outside. Here comes Brian Chambliss trying to give him a shove. No, he leaves him to dry. What is Jeremy Miller going to do? Here they come onto the back straightaway now. Miller making a move to the outside. Dulger goes in the middle of the track. He opens up a lane on the bottom. Oh, he doors Miller. Dulger going to go sideways down the apron. And there you see Miller going to cover his bases 4 wide through turn 3 and also through turn 4. Here comes Thompson on the outside trying to build up a run on McQuistion. Here we go out of turn 4. The run to the start-finish line. Who's got what it takes? Do they have enough gas? Oh, there goes McQuistion spinning into the infield side by side for Thompson and Miller. They're going to door each other through the triangle. They reckon behind is the 23 of Jeremy Miller that will win at Talladega. Wow, what a last lap.
I thought I told you, Jeremy Miller, if he didn't have damage, somebody could win.
Oh man, I'm out of breath. A lot of stuff going on at the end of that race, but it's going to be the 23 of Miller that will walk home with the win. And
yeah, I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you did that because I'd have been tongue-tied.
I was trying not to be. I was really hoping it didn't. I thought I made that pretty well. Oh man. But really solid run for Jeremy Miller at the end there. Take home the win. And that was amazing. We were really close to him not being as he doored the 58 of Riley Thompson. I'm curious if there's any hurt feelings between those two guys. Thompson finished back in 5th. Remember, Thompson was going for that $25 at the end, so it was so close to getting it. But just short. But for Miller, it's going to be, comes to the trial over here. Win to his name.
Man, that was an exciting final lap. I mean, they were 4 wide at one time. Man.
Oh, the wall. Didn't need to pass tech anyway. So you run out of gas? Oh, I know what he's gonna do. Oh. Never mind. All right, that was an interesting way to end that. I think might have probably been out of gasoline. That's why it gave up halfway through that. But we'll take a look quickly at your race results. Find the button for it. There we go. Going across the screen there, looking at the second page of that. Jeremy Miller, though, taking the win in that 23. What a race.
Yeah, he may have ran out of gas before he got to do his little celebration.
But try to give it something there. So on that note, don't go anywhere. We'll get some your top three, maybe some other drivers as well. Probably the 58 of Riley Thompson for interviews. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We'll also get a look at a slow-mo replay of the finish just to dissect everything that happened because man, did a lot of stuff go on that Wi-Fi lap. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Right, and we're here talking with your third place finisher, John Wilco. And John, that was probably one of the best runs I've seen out of your car in a very long time. You finished up in third. You were really close to getting the win there at the end, but fortunately you weren't able to walk away with it. Just kind of walk us through those last laps as everything was starting to heat up.
Oh yeah, when I thought we were all set. I had my teammate there in front of me, Steve Herring, and we were doing great. And then when he had a pit, it was all hands on deck. I was just trying to hang on and do the best I could. And next thing I know, it's like four wide, and cars are just going everywhere. And I knew we were close on fuel. I think we crossed the line and ran out of fuel, but it was it was fun.
Yeah, it really was fun to watch, especially those last few laps. But looking back, obviously at your run, you always kind of think of what could have been. Is there anything you can think of off the top of your head? You could have changed, maybe making a move a little bit earlier, or something you could have changed that you thought might have given you the chance of the win.
I think if I look back, the one thing that if I would have been able to stay ahead of the seven when he was getting ready to pit, I think that we would have had enough to try to hold everybody off. But hey, we'll take a third after last week's 30th or whatever the heck. We'll take it.
Yeah, definitely don't blame me for that. But John, nice solid third place finish, and see how you do next week.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I do appreciate everything that SimTV does and Mission 22, and I just hope everybody stays safe out there. And it's, just want to say real quick, say thanks to my teammate Steve Herring for all the help.
Well, there you go, John Wilco. John, we'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir.
On back to our second place finisher. It's going to be Brian Chambliss in the 25. And Brian, you had a really good run towards the end of the race there. I thought you were a bit of a sleeper. Wasn't sure where you're going to appear, maybe have a move, but you were there. You ended up finishing second. Just walk us through, I guess, really the last lap.
Yeah, I had there was a bunch of guys around us that had 2 more laps of fuel than I did, so I was really just having to save that whole last run there because I wasn't wasn't gonna make it. I was able to save some fuel, and I actually went too late. I probably could have went earlier when Jeremy made his move with about 3 or 4 to go, and after that I was like, man, I gotta go. And we got the last lap we were 4 wide there. Somebody got loose on the bottom and saw lap cars coming, and it was really tight getting into 3, and I was just happy to get through that. And then had a little contact with John there coming towards the end, and it shot me up into Riley, so he lost his second place finish out of that. It's unfortunate, but yeah, we were good, especially early. I felt like me and Casey were up there doing a pretty good job controlling the race, and then had a bad bump and it bumped me out of line. And after that, I was just kind of riding around in the back until I was able to make my move.
Yeah, looking at your season so far, this is going to give you a solid boost of points. Any other tracks coming up on the schedule that you have your eyes particularly?
I don't really have the schedule up in front of me, but I feel in this league I'm definitely should be able to make the playoffs here. I can't miss any more races or I'll lose my eligibility, but definitely a second place finish here is going to give me the bump, and I think it probably puts me in that I think top 12, make it here, maybe 16. Either way, I'll be. I think I'm there with this race, and I just a matter of keeping myself there, keeping clean. So really just looking forward to that, and glad to have Redenzo on this car over this week and get him up towards the front.
Yeah, definitely gonna be happy with that. Then this finish moves you up into 11th place, +3 for you, and we'll see if you can do that in the upcoming week. So Brian, thanks for talking to us, and we'll see you next week.
Nice, thank you, appreciate it.
Next to Riley Thompson. And Riley, man, you were so close to getting the win. Going through the trial, you were side by side with the 23. Gonna walk through the finish from your eyes.
I didn't have much of a problem with it. I think iRacing made it out way worse than it should have been. Because I mean, you expect him to come up a little bit, and it would have been fine. But iRacing decided to pop me off of his car too. Um, but overall, I think I expected more people to be tied around fuel with how much people seem to be pushing.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, me and David were puzzled the last 10 laps. We're trying to figure out how much fuel you guys had because it looked like you guys were getting ready for green flag pit stops at the end, but you guys ran it pretty close, and then we figured towards the end, I guess you guys were just gonna run it out. So, for really from your eyes, how much work? When did you really actually start going? I guess is the better word.
There was that time with I think it was about 10 to go where everyone was actually starting to save that I was going, but there wasn't any hole, so I kind of started to drop back, and then really started to go about 3 to go once everyone that had to pit actually pitted.
Right, well, that was Riley Thompson, your 5th place finisher. Unfortunately, Riley wasn't a win, especially considering he had a shot at getting some money, but I think you'll probably be happy about where we're going next week. It's going to be a road course, and I think I have a feeling you'll do pretty well there.
Fingers crossed. Bressy's been tough there, so hopefully I can actually get him. Thanks, guys.
Yep. So Riley, we talk to you. See you. We'll see you next week, and hopefully we'll talk to you next week.
See ya.
All right, and last but certainly not least, your race winner, Jeremy Miller in the 23. Jeremy, that was some impressive driving on that last lap. You were darting all over the place on the back straightaway. Walk us through all the moves you made, because you made quite a few of them. It was honestly hard to keep track of, and you ran me out of breath.
It was just, yeah, I mean, I was trying to run the 80 out of fuel for the last few laps by pushing him. When I saw it wasn't going to happen, I decided to make the move on him. And then we got into each other's doors. I don't know if I came down or he came up or what. And then I saved it, and I saw the 93 with a huge run. I got lucky. I was able to get down in time to block it. And then he doored Riley, I think, behind me, and Riley still somehow got a giant run. And I run up against him, and then his car popped up into the air from it, which sucks. That just sucks. I wasn't trying to do it like that, but managed to win, so that was cool.
Yeah, it really was cool. And I'm trying to see where that puts you actually run. Yeah, fine. Yeah, I don't think you are. I think you're probably just here for running for fun at the moment, right? Yeah. So really, I guess are you going to be making most of the races for the rest of the season?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Any other races that you're looking at? You got your kind of circled on your calendar?
I mean, pretty good at these places usually. It might be good at the Mountain House, but that's probably about it. I think we go to Auto Club. That'll be a fun event.
Definitely see how you do there. I believe this is your first win in this particular.
Yep.
Oh, fun. So Jeremy Miller, his first win in the Field Mission 22 Premier Series, and Jeremy will see potentially do it again before the season's over.
All right, thanks.
All right. On that note, I think it'll wrap up our interviews for this week. We'll take another look at your finishing order here. There you can see some guys that really ran out. Just had unfortunate incidents. Halaba, Radojcic, Hayden Pistorius, Nick Johnson, big names out of it. Will Roberts, that were running really well early on. They ended up finishing way down the order, probably than they all would have liked. That was nice to see, just up at the field, a lot of guys that didn't have a win in the series, or very few wins in the series, up there duking it out for the win. I mean, just there you can see right there, Miller, Chambliss, Wilco, Dulger, Thompson, Simpson, Licata, Sheen, and Schmidt, and Filarski here. Top 10. Very diverse top 10 from these drivers. So on that note, I think that's going to wrap up our coverage of Talladega Fuel Mission 22 Premier Series. David, any closing remarks?
My car's clean. I don't have anything. Exciting finish. It was really, really good driving on everybody's part, especially to go 4 wide there at times. Just excellent finish.
Yeah, I got a camera shot of your car. Parked on pit road's been sitting for 93 laps. Definitely clean indeed. But yeah, that's going to wrap up our coverage. So thank you for watching our coverage tonight. Our streams are going tomorrow night is going to be the Rodenza Sports Car Challenge. Thursday, Scars Ferrari Challenge. A few more of the series. And then for Tuesday, when we're back with the Mission 22 Premier Series, they're going to be at Watkins Glen. So at a road course. Cal's going to be very disappointed he's not going to be able to cover that track because it's one of his favorite places. But I'll be covering it. And I believe we'll have Brandon Kreutz from PTR TV, so he'll be joining me up in the booth. But David, got to say thanks again for stepping out of the driver's seat for majority of the race, pretty much, and up in the booth. And we'll see you next week. Watching.